Hello and welcome to another edition of Addition. I'm your host, Addy Snowden. I'm a quantum life coach helping you jump into the reality of your dreams. You can always book with me at calendly.com/additionpod. That is ADDITIONPOD. Calendly.com/additionpod. In the show notes of this episode after I post, but thanks to everyone who is watching live. Yay, it's going to be a fun episode today. But I do have all the links to my website, everything that I mentioned in the podcast that's relevant in the show notes, so definitely check the description after. So I'm so excited for today's episode today. I have a bunch of different topics I'm going to touch on that all kind of relate to back to taking control of your life, taking ownership of your story. And so we're going to start by doing a part 2 on frame control. So I believe it was episode 86 where I introduced you guys to the topic of frame control. I had mentioned it before in an episode about power if you want to check up and see what I said, but I have a follow-up. So the last time I told you about my tattoo that I got in Thailand. This is the tattoo. Is Jalene's. It rubbed off very quickly and it took a few weeks, and he did do it again for free. But as we saw that this tattoo wasn't staying, I made a commitment on this podcast to get my money. And I'm here to report that, yes, I did in fact get my money back. Tattoo, full price. It took maybe like 30 minutes to an hour, but just to prove to you that going in with the intention, it's like, I don't have a receipt, I got this service, but I'm not satisfied. I'm the customer. I'm always right. What are you going to do to make me feel about this? I got my money back. So want to give you that update. So there is a service like Uber in Thailand, and it's called Grab. It has like a green logo. You may see it around on social media. If you're watching the season of White Lotus, there's a tiny Grab appearance in Bangkok when one of the boyfriends goes to Bangkok. Anyway, so I wanted to give you another example of how people were controlling the frame with us. So let's say the Grab bike is 100 baht, or the Grab service is 100 baht. And we have a bill of just 1,000 baht. Like anywhere else, you can just get change back, and you give them the bill. They have change in their pouch, in their little fanny pack. But it took one person with a strong frame to not say that they didn't have change, and they then made it our job to scramble around and find exact change for them. And this kind of changed how we did all of our money. Like now it was very important that we had smaller bills, and not that many places give change around here. So our whole life got thrown into chaos with this one Grab driver who insisted that we give him exact change, as opposed to he have change. And we thought about it later, and we're talking, and it's like, if we go into Walmart and try to buy something and need change, and they don't have change, like that's just not realistic. They in the US, in most store, in any shop you go to, like, people have change. That's the cost of doing business. So props to that Grab driver for having such a strong frame that he made it our business. Obviously, we're foreigners. He probably was, just didn't feel like doing the effort, doing the work. But once we took our power back and practiced frame control on the Grab drivers, and we've had drivers have to run across the street to go to 7-Eleven to get change. They figure out a way to get change. So just to empower you to continue frame control. And I'm going to focus this episode on a part of frame control that I think is really healing for people. As you know, I'm on my Eat, Pray, Love journey here in Thailand with my wife, and I've been doing a lot of healing, a lot of deprogramming. I've came out of being in corporate America, came out of being in the US, very high pressure, high responsibility jobs. And in Thailand, where I'm semi-retired, I'm relaxed, I'm free, we just been chilling for the past 2 months, of course, setting up our life together, but relaxing. There's just been a lot of like healing that I've been going through. And so there's a part of frame control, which I'll remind you guys, frame control is defining meanings of situations for yourself and then moving forward based on how you define a situation and not letting other people define a situation for you. For example, with the Grab drivers, the frame that we have as customers is that you guys should have change, and the frame that the Grab drivers has is that they don't want to waste their change on us. But we choose what we believe, and that's what we move forward with. So that's just a recap on frame control. So while that applies to situations like dealing with service workers or going about your everyday life, frame control also applies to reclaiming your life from your past victimhood. Like, so much of us go through life, with these sob stories about ourselves, and basically like saying, oh, we're victims, we're not empowered, everything bad happens. I'm like, just all this like negative talk based on these past stories. So I have a challenge to create a new frame that everything in your life, everything that has happened in your life is your superhero origin story. I think that's the best way for me to think about reclaiming past victimhood. Everyone knows like their favorite superhero. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. It starts out in tragedy. He loses his uncle. Sorry if that's a spoiler for anybody. And with great power comes great responsibility, and then he becomes Spider-Man, right? So, whatever happened in your life that is hard to let go of, that you're still feeling resentful, that you're still feeling negative about, that you feel like people didn't do right by you, everything that people did wrong, all of that, like take that and make that your superhero origin story. Um, and that's an excellent frame to look at when a bad thing happens. And it's like, as you move forward, like you could be in your superhero state now, but if that feels really far away, if that feels far-fetched, then just know that your superhero moment is coming, and all of this is part of your story to build character, build skills. Jolene and I watched Slumdog Millionaire recently, and the Slumdog Millionaire it's definitely in my top 10 favorite movies. I'm not sure exactly what my top 10 are. I know my top 1 and 2, which is The Matrix and The Prestige, both not both Christopher Nolan, but anyway, Matrix and The Prestige are my top 2 movies, but my in my top 10 is Slumdog Millionaire. And Slumdog Millionaire, spoiler warning, Slumdog Millionaire is about a guy who grew up in India, in the slums of Mumbai, gets on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and wins 10 million rupees, which is the prize in India. And they question him and berate him because they're like, you're from a slum. His job is what they call a chaiwala, someone who delivers tea to staff, I believe, at a newspaper or a magazine. So a very like low wage job. He came from the slums, the straight up slums. So they're like, you obviously cheated because there's no way you got all of the answers right on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So, but they tell the movie through moments in his childhood, which are typically really, really, really tragic moments. This is a very sad, heart-tugging movie, but all of those sad moments were led to an answer for one of his questions on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So he won the grand prize by answering questions that he only knew the answer to because of traumatic events in his childhood. Like, that's a perfect example of reclaiming your past victimhood and saying it was all for a reason. The whole theme of the story is that some things are fate, destiny, some things are predefined, and everything is happening for you. There's an excellent book called The Alchemist. It's been a while. I need to reread it. And you guys, this book was so good that I was on a camping trip with my friends, and I lost all of my friends because I was so focused reading the Alchemist, and I have no regrets. Okay. I so this is a great book, but it's all about like the universe is always conspiring for you, and that also helps with the frame. It's like everything is always working out in my favor, no matter if it seems bad in this moment. It's a challenge. So that's my take on how to make everything negative in your life your superhero origin story. And that may sound like, why would I do that? And it's like, well, if you don't do that, you think that you're an unlucky person, you think that you're a victim and only bad things happen to you. You really, oh my gosh, sorry. As you know, we are live. There's definitely a big wasp fly above me. Um, Also, there's a bee's nest that has moved in down in the lower level of our garden, and that's actually a really good sign, like a really positive omen for prosperity. But anyway, in my little filming location, there's some insects around. Okay, so another way to reclaim your life from past victimhood with frame control is believing that anything negative people say about you, either now or in the past, like believe the opposite of it. So there's a 15 commitment of conscious leadership. We've been going through the series. We're almost done now, which is great, but it's about exploring the opposite. And something that Jolene and I talk about all the time is things that we said that we thought were bad growing up are actually really good. And it's in our best interest, if someone says anything bad about us, that we need to believe the opposite for ourselves, because people think that the world has an ego problem. And yes, in terms of like identifying with things outside of like who we really are, yes, there's an ego problem. But in terms of like being overconfident, the world does not have an ego problem. Like, some people are allowed overconfident minority, but most people that I meet are really, really deeply insecure and really doubt their talents and their abilities. And I think it was really interesting to work at Google, because Google is a place where everyone needs to believe in themselves, and needs to have they think that they're the best in whatever their specialty is. But even that is a mask for insecurity, right? So I think we need to increase overconfident people. Like, we need more overconfident people, especially women, especially people of color, especially minorities, oppressed groups. Like, people need to have a stronger self-confidence. So the next time someone critiques me, unless it's my wife, because I know she's going to do it in a loving way, but and only for my best interest. But if anyone like critiques me, whether now or in the past or in the future, I'm going to believe the opposite. I'm not going to say, no, you're wrong, but I'm going to say, okay, thanks for your feedback. Because people have critiqued me about so many things. Like, there was a time, well, first of all, I've been in Thailand. I've been getting really tan here. Like, I'm definitely bronzing here. People will say like, oh, don't, your skin's really dark. Like, I remember I had a friend from high school or in middle school in Texas, and she was like, I came back, or like after summer, she was like, you look like you're Jamaican. And I know I'm sure, I don't know what she meant by that, to be completely honest, but basically just like, they're implying that there is something wrong. Everyone, if you're a Black woman growing up, you've typically had parents or family that tell you to stay out of the sun, that there's something wrong, you're getting too dark, or something like that. And I don't know what they were actually worried about. I don't know if they thought I would be single forever. No one would want to be in a relationship with me if I was darker. I don't know what people were implying, but I didn't know it at the time. At the time, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna stay out of the sun. And I'm gonna wear sunscreen, I'm gonna wear a hat, I'm gonna wear an umbrella, whatever. I'm gonna shield myself completely from the sun, because people are saying it's this really bad thing to be darker. Okay, so now I'm in Thailand. I'm gotten significantly darker. My wife hasn't left me. I still get way too much attention than I want to. And like people, sorry, something, car's coming. But people are on me all the time with my dark skin. And I remember we had this conversation. I'm like, is it possible that people were just jealous of how my skin looked when it tanned, and that's why they told me to not get my skin darker, you know? And that's why it's like, and also like being tall, like it was like, oh, being tall is a bad thing. And I remember watching America's Next Top Model, and I'm like, wow, they're actually judging people for being really for being shorter, and I'm like, and so why is everyone telling me it's unattractive to be tall? Oh, thank you. Jay Snow says your skin is beautiful. Thank you so much. I can now agree with that statement. Like, I've really enjoyed my tan here. I think I look great. Let me know in the comments. But what was I talking about? Being tall. And I remember like my mom encouraged me was trying to discourage me from playing basketball because I would stretch, and it was like, but being tall, it's like women are like breaking their feet and getting bunion surgery to shove their feet into these high heels. Why in the world am I feeling insecure about being tall? And it wasn't until much later, like into my adulthood, that I started wearing heels and embracing my height. And this goes into what I was going to make this episode about today, but I decided not to because I didn't want it to be completely focused on this. But hater psychology. Hater psychology 101. It's like the people who are making you feel like a victim, and putting these stories onto yourself. Like, these are haters first and foremost. And I just want to get into deeply the psychology of a hater, because while I knew what a hater was, I didn't realize how toxic it is to have people who are jealous of you around. So a lot of haters, number one in hater psychology is that they're jealous. I asked ChatGPT to put a list together of hater psychology, and they put envy and jealousy as number two, and insecurity and low self-esteem as number one. But in terms of like how they impact, or like the main driving force behind it, is they're jealous. They're jealous of you. So you got to understand that most people are jealous, and it's something I didn't know. I'm really grateful because my wife got lessons on this in jealousy, and her parents did a good job of talking to her about people being jealous or envious of her. And she's a beautiful woman, and has really unique, beautiful skin that stands out. And I completely understand why it was really important for them to drill that into her, because I could only imagine how many haters she grew up with. Um, so, but I didn't get that lesson. I didn't. Like, I was good in school, but no one made me feel like anyone would be jealous. It just didn't come up. Just didn't come up. Like, I don't even know if that word was even spoken in our household, jealous. I don't know. I don't think so. And so I'm talking about it now because in the past year, 2 years, I've done a lot of research on jealousy and all the different types of jealousy and how to spot it. And the sad truth is that most people have it and are jealous. And that's why they're inflicting these wounds on people. They're abusing people. They're casting stones on people. They're just out here being menaces, these jealous people. And in 48 Laws of Power, which I talked about in a previous episode, they say like a jealous person, like you immediately have to cut off and immediately separate them. And like now that we're living in this bubble, it's like we choose to let in who we let in. And it's a really slow process because it's like, I don't even know how many people I would want to let in, because so many people are jealous. Like we stopped going to a beach that is close to our house. And when I say stop, I mean just take a pause. Oh, it's a huge part of the White Lotus storyline. Yes, Jay Snow. I'm actually going to be talking about White Lotus in a later part of the episode, so stay tuned. But yeah, we stopped going to the beach because it's like one of the servers who, like, their job is to sell food to people on the beach, was being judgy about how much we were ordering on the beach. And it was really, 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 really weird. We've had, and it's like, while that beach isn't banned for us, it's like we're like, okay, let's go to the other side of the beach. So we don't have to deal with that kind of stuff, and we ended up going to a different beach yesterday, and it's one of our favorites so far. It's Karen Beach, Karon. But it happens over. I remember a driver dropped us off at our home here and implied that our neighborhood was boring. And it's like crazy. It's always like the craziest people. It's not just people you would see as your competition. It's people who the last thing you're thinking about is whether you're in competition with this person. Like they're just doing a service. You're doing a transaction, but that jealousy can still come through, and they will cast those stones. And it's our job now that we know. Going back to frame control, everything is our superhero origin story. Anything negative people say about you, choose to believe the opposite. And remember, hater psychology 101 is jealousy. It's jealousy and envy. If anyone is being mean, if anyone is picking on you, they're being jealous or envious. Because they would just, if you really weren't relevant in their life, they would just ignore you. Uh, there's so many people that we pass through the day, and such a small fraction of those people do we actually interact with. So that's what I got to say on the Frame Control Part 2 update, Hater Psychology 101. I hope you like that. I will just read like the other elements of hater psychology that ChatGPT mentioned. So mentioned one, insecurity and self-esteem, 2, envy and jealousy, 3, unresolved personal issues, 4, need for control or superiority, 5, cognitive dissonance, 6, social and cultural influence, 7, desire for attention and validation. And that's it. So maybe after 15 commitments ends, because we are on commitment 13 this week, maybe we'll go through the psychology of a hater. And it's hard because like I don't want to focus on the negative, but I think if you want to be, Addition is about like if you want to be successful, whether it's in corporate America, whether it's being an artist, whether it's in your relationship, it's all about being successful. And like people who are ambitious and successful and actually achieve their goals are going to encounter a lot of haters, especially as they grow in fame, in notoriety, and we need to understand how to combat that and deliver ourselves against these haters. Okay. So let's get into the career segment of this week. So this is commitment. We're continuing with the 15 commitments of conscious leadership. I really hope you enjoyed this series. Please comment if you are a fan. Let me know what you thought about the 15 commitments of conscious leadership. So commitment 13 is experiencing the world as an ally. I commit to seeing all people and circumstances as allies that are perfectly suited to help me learn the most important things for my growth. I'll repeat that again. Experiencing the world as an ally. I commit to seeing all people and circumstances as allies that are perfectly suited to help me learn the most important things for my growth. Okay, so this kind of plays on what we talked about earlier. So if everything is your hero origin story, that means everyone that you encounter is helping you get to your superhero status. So every person in every circumstance are allies in my growth because they're helping me learn. And so I think like, that's just a great frame to go into every situation. It's like, how are you going to be in my ally? Sometimes it's really simple. It's like the Uber picks you up, the Grab picks you up. They're helping you get literally from point A to point B. Your spouse, your partner, they're like learning and growth is one of the biggest takeaways that I've gotten since being married. I learned so much about myself and I grow so much. Like I'm a completely different person from before I got married and now. But when it's like really negative people, sometimes the lesson is to learn how to set boundaries. When it's rude people, maybe it's a lesson to learn how to not put up with them anymore. If it's a hater, it's a lesson in how to get them out of your life. It's a lesson in using the block button, right? So, got some chats coming in. Oh, thank you so much, Jay Snow. She said, I love and practice the commitments of 15 commitments of conscious leadership. Okay, so yeah, experiencing the world as an ally. Everyone you encounter is an ally in your growth. Everyone. And it doesn't mean you keep everyone around. Sometimes that lesson, that growth is to practice removing people from your life, practice setting boundaries, creating distance, creating space. Okay, so White Lotus, that is what I'm geeked out about this week. Oh my gosh. So White Lotus, it's on season 3 and it's in Thailand, which is so cool. It's in between Koh Samui and Bangkok. We're in Phuket, so we're not there. But we are going to Bangkok next month. And it's just really cool to see an American show based in Thailand because, as you know, we are currently living in Thailand. And oh my gosh, is it juicy? It's a really juicy season. It had a slow start. I'm not going to do any spoilers. It had a really slow start, but as Jay Snow mentioned, they talk about jealousy. There's a friend group. There's a family that, and just talks about how little it's like you could be staying at a resort with your family and know nothing about who your parents are, who your siblings are. Like, proximity does not equal knowing or understanding. It's crazy. But yeah, anyway, watch White Lotus. If you haven't watched the first and second season, definitely watch those as well. It's on HBO Max or Max. But let me know what you think if you've been watching White Lotus. And it's so funny because it paints a very interesting picture of Thailand. Like, some things are really accurate, like the greetings, sawadee thank you, Kup Kun Ka. Like, they haven't shown any Thai food, which is really funny. I think they're going to a Muay Thai fight next episode. That's relevant. But in terms of like, and they ride the scooters, it's like some things are Thailand and some things are obvious. Like, you guys didn't do enough research about Thai culture. So yes, so that is the episode for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be honest with you. I woke up this morning and I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. Maybe I'm not going to do the live stream today, but I'm so glad that I showed up today. You guys are always an amazing audience. Thanks for being allies into my learning and growth. And I will see you guys. If no one has questions, I'll give you a minute to ask questions in the chat. I'm live on TikTok right now. I'm live on a whole bunch of platforms right now. So if you're watching me, let me know if you have any questions. All right. I think there's probably no questions today, and that's okay. I got a late start today. I know it's super late in America, but thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week, April 1st, a new month, a new quarter. So excited. Bye.